Hi families, hi kiddos. So we are starting 15.1 through 15.3 this week, and it's focusing on three-dimensional shapes. So we've talked about two-dimensional shapes, and I have put a big emphasis on two-dimensional shapes. You will have sides and vertices, and they're always going to be the same. So if you have a hexagon, it has 6 sides, so it's always going to have 6 vertices. And we remember that sides are the edges, and then vertices are the points. Well, when you have three-dimensional shapes, you have 3 parts of the shape. You have vertices, or the vertex, which is the point, the edge, which is going to be your side, and then you have your face, which is the flat part of that shape. So if you're looking at my cube right here, you have your face, which is going to be this flat part right here. So each one of these squares is a face. Then your edges are going to be these lines right there. And then your vertex is going to be your point, or your vertices, just like we talked about with the two-dimensional shapes. So here are your edges. This square right there, these squares are your faces. And then your points are your vertices. And so we're going to focus on that when we are focusing on our 15.2. Okay, so now we've talked about the faces, the edges, and the vertexes. So now we're going to focus on actually finding the faces, the edges, and the vertexes of each shape. So if you look right here at our rectangular prism, okay, first we need to find our faces. So remember, faces are not sides like on a two-dimensional shape. They're the faces, like these sides, or I don't want to say they're not sides because they are sides, but when we talked about sides with two-dimensional shapes, we were talking about these lines. That's not what we're talking about with three-dimensional shapes. We're talking about the actual sides of an object. So if you look at my phone has 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, and 6 sides. So this rectangular prism, which it basically is, it's not a flat shape, it's three-dimensional, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces, not just 4. If this was a flat rectangle, or as we like to call it, a quadrilateral, it has 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a 3D shape. So on this rectangular prism, we're looking at our faces, the flat sides of the shape. So you have 1, 2, 3 back here, and then 4 on the bottom. And then one side over here, that's 5. The other side, which is 6. So a rectangular prism has 6 sides. Then we're looking at edges. Now this is what we're used to when it comes to sides for a two-dimensional shape. These lines right here, the edges of something. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let me do the math again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I lied, 12. See, we can make mistakes. So if you draw out this along with it when you're doing edges, it's going to help you. So if you see my pencil marks, I drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 edges. Okay, 12 edges. So on three-dimensional shapes, just like I would say with two-dimensional shapes, trace it out so you can make sure you're counting correctly. And then vertices, which are vertexes, which is the points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like I've said, don't get used to the sides or faces and the vertices on three-dimensional shapes to be the same, because they will not be the same. So now let's practice with this cube. Okay. It is a square. Squares make up the cube, but it does not have 4 faces. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Because if you have a square or a cube, I'm trying to see if I can find something that would be perfect. Okay. My Secret Santa gave me coffee. So you have a cube, right? A square. 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4, 5, 6. 6 faces to this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, so we said this cube has 6 faces, flat faces. Okay. Now looking at the edges, these lines, draw them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's see if I did that correctly from looking at my work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. As you see, I went and put my paper down and I drew it out. I drew all my lines. So if I see my pencil mark on there, I know that I accounted for that side. So a cube has 12 edges. Now vertices, the points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See my dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 vertices. Always use your lines. Use your shape and your pencil to account for what you're counting for. So faces are these flat spots, just like with this. This box has 6 faces. Okay. Edges, these things right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then vertices, we talked about the points. Each edge. Each little corner that you have. So when you're looking at these shapes, and we'll have an anchor chart of all of the three-dimensional shapes that we'll be talking about, and we will fill in the edges, the faces, and the vertices. But remember, it's not like two-dimensional shapes. Your faces, edges, and vertices are not going to be always the same. 90% of the time, they're not going to be. So if you get the same answer for some of these, I suggest you go back and try it again, because there's something wrong. But use this, use your picture, and trace it, and figure out if your answer is correct or not by process of elimination. Show your work. I tell y'all all the time, draw your vertices, outline your shapes. That way it's going to prevent you from making a mistake. Okay, so looking at this problem, it says, how many faces does a rectangular prism have? Okay, well, let's trace it out and see. Okay, so we have one little tiny triangle, two tiny little triangles. The flat bottom, and then side and side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Don't let the triangular prism trick you. It does not have 3 faces. You included this face over here, that's 2. This big part right here, that's 3. Then this back part over here, that's 4. And this bottom part over here, that's 5. This triangular prism has 5 faces. Okay, 5. So I hope this was helpful. I will continue going through 15.3, 15.4, and 15.5. I am not doing 15.1 because it is more of just getting used to the shapes, and we will have an anchor chart for that. Later on this week, I will post a review for our CA for math. I will be going over some of the problems that are troublesome in class that I've noticed, and just use this as a review to go back, and if you want to rework the problem with me, you're more than welcome. I am sorry if this was kind of shaky. I don't like videoing myself. I like photos, but just standing here in front of it is kind of creepy. But 15.2, 3-dimensional shapes, figuring out faces, edges, and vertices. We have this. I hope you all have a great day, and let me know if y'all have any questions. Bye.